you are a man who comes from the academia. Now you're into business. Yes. Are you practicing what you're preaching? Today we have the honor and privilege of speaking to the proprietor, Mr. Kimbowa Francis, who speaks to us about his journey.
I was a lecturer in Makerere University for 20 years, and I was teaching tourism for that long. I learned a lot in that process, through reading, through exposure, talking to people and so on. But you and I agree that in the academic world, we teach theory. But now I wanted to see how that theory can be translated to the practical bit of it. And having traveled and exposed myself to the trends of tourism, when we built this, we wanted to translate that to the practical bit.
What was the idea behind first the name Buffalo Safari Lodge and what you wanted to establish in putting together this lodge?
We bought the lodge in 2017. They had named it Buffalo Safari Resort. From my knowledge of tourism, I saw that we needed to change from resort to a lodge. There's a waterhole, a lake in the center of the property with many animals, elephants, warthog, buffalo. But this waterhole, in the rainy season, it attracts a lot of buffaloes in this place, a lot of buffaloes. And at the time, those buffaloes would be at that lake for weeks and months, because they would come with their young ones in a huge herd. So that's how they named it Buffalo Safari Resort, which we kept to Buffalo Safari Lodge.
If you're to speak to someone out there, as someone who is probably doing it the right way, what kind of advice and nuggets would you share with them? And they would like to enter the same kind of business.
Yeah. I think one of the basic advice I would say is that you must have interest in what you are doing. We have many people, they have the money, but the interest is not there. Interest is very important because interest feeds into the passion. People just do things and they lose passion after a short period of time. Secondly, practical knowledge. Practical knowledge. Again, where people have money, but they don't have the practical knowledge to develop something to this. That practical knowledge, you get it by exposure, you get it by surrounding yourself with people who know what they are doing in tourism. It also takes humility, to know that I think someone is an expert in this field. Let me bring them and work with them and give them the freedom to do this. And then you get feedback from people like you get feedback from the public, you get feedback from guests. From that feedback, you can gauge whether you're on the right track or not.
There's intention in your architecture. There's intention in the soul of this place. Look at the ceiling, look at the floor, look at the poles that we're looking at. You're keeping the earthy materials, you're keeping it organic and eco-friendly. What informs and inspires that for you?
This is a tourist lodge, and the trend of tourists, both local and international tourists, and we ourselves, the directors, the owners of this place, is that they want to engage in activities that protect the environment, activities that promote the environment and sustainability. So because of that, that's why we have designed and developed the lodge towards that direction. We ourselves and also tourists no longer want things that are more foreign, more European. It should be something that gives that relationship with the local materials, the local community, and so on. That is the reason why.
What is the story of putting together this? Because you say you only retain this building. and much of the rest was rebuilt. Where do you source the materials? Who do you work with? What kind of idea are you putting together? And what did it mean for you putting together? Because even the local materials are not easily accessible, maybe in Uganda, and you have to look out for all these things.
When we bought the lodge in 2017, we developed a plan to develop this lodge into a world-class facility. And we saw that the structures in place would not fit into that future we wanted for this property. So what we did is that we developed a plan to build this place into a completely new one, depending on what tourists want, where the future is going, which is what we embarked on. We demolished the cottages at the time. You have seen the cottages that we have put together now since then. We want something that is interesting for now and also in the future, in terms of design, in terms of space, in terms of comfort, and so on. So these materials, to answer your question, where we source them locally. The wood mainly comes from Mubende. We spoke to people who have forests there, and we got the wood to roof from Mubende. The guardrails on the balconies also from Mubende. Now the furnishings in the room, beds, bedside tables, and so on, also those are done locally here. We get people who know what they are doing. We give them our designs, we give them our sizes, and then they make those materials. We have others we import from Nairobi and Tanzania. Those are items which we feel tourists will like. We do not want something that is too European or much of China, and I think you have seen in our spaces.
Any business has its share of challenges. Yeah. What would you say are those challenges that you face as a business entity?
One of the challenges we face is the community. They encroach. Sometimes they come and they want to cut the trees, We're a place that really protects the environment. To us, that is a major thing, And those are small things. What we've done, we've spoken to them. By and large, they have been understanding, and it has been limited to a great deal. The other issue, animals, wild animals. This is a park. To us, it has not been a major challenge, but it is something we keep at the back of our minds. This is a wildlife park where the lodge is. Therefore, we keep briefing our guests all the time to know how to behave and so on. So animals leave the park and they come here. That in itself is an opportunity, but it can also be a risk, So it is important. Another challenge we face here has to do with the macro environment. The macro environment can affect what we do here locally, infrastructure particularly. Looking at the roads for people to come here, especially when it rains. Electricity can be unstable. By and large, the government has supported tourism, but we request for more support, not just for our property, but generally, by constructing and maintaining the roads that bring tourists here, and giving stable supply of power. And just so you know, we generate our own water from Kazinga Channel. We treat it ourselves. That can also be costly for a private venture like ours. So if National Water and Sewerage Corporation can roll out to this area, that can be useful for us. Those are the challenges we face and we try to manage.
The challenges being there, they are also the big highlights.
Yeah.
What have been the big highlights for you in your career as an academic and now as an entrepreneur?
Yes. I think one of the highlights for my life generally is this privilege. I call it a privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege for me to get the concepts, the theoretical concepts in academia, to be able to apply them to this. That's one of the main things. I think us acquiring Buffalo Lodge is one of the highlights of my life that I would point out and say, I think God was in this. Another one is the opportunity for me to lecture at the university, contribute to labor in this country and the region. I mean, I go to Kenya, I go to Tanzania, and you find my former students there. So again, that is a highlight for me, which I don't take for granted. I appreciate it very much. And then the people you meet, tourists from different countries, they come here, and this is something that they enjoy so much. You see the joy, you see the smile on their faces. To me, that really makes my day. That really makes my day. To do something that people enjoy, to do something that people like, you know, and you can tell that their praise is genuine. Their praise is genuine. That to me really makes my day. Yeah, it's one of the highlights of my life.
Okay. What would you like to see done better in the tourism sector or marketing destination Uganda per se?
I would say that we need to put tourism at the forefront. Right now, I notice that the will to develop tourism from the higher levels of management of this country is a bit low, maybe because they are not informed. But you might know that tourism now is the #1 foreign exchange earner for Uganda. The #1 foreign exchange earner for Uganda. When we had that campaign, Uganda marketing on CNN by the government, it really put tourism at a very high level. Uganda got to be well known globally. Uganda got to be popular. I believe that if government brings back those campaigns with international media, with media like yours, it will really put us on a big map. That's one change I would like to see. The other change I feel that is very important is infrastructure. We've alluded to it before. Roads, especially tourism roads, electricity, and so on. That is another area which I feel would be very important. And also you would like to know that Queen Elizabeth is next to Congo. We are near Congo. So the issues there can spill over, whether in reality or out of fear. You know, tourism is a sensitive environment, a sensitive sector. So we want government to alleviate those fears. The place is safe. I mean, you've not faced any challenges here. But out there, internationally and maybe locally, some people may fear and say, oh, we don't know if it is safe around there. We don't know if it is a good thing. That is one thing I would like a change in the perception of society about these parks. Remember a few years ago when Kony was a problem in the north, Makshon Falls, people used to fear going to Makshon Falls. Yet it is one of the most beautiful parks in Uganda. Now, I don't know, maybe they have resumed going there, but you can see that their fears were unfounded. So the same here. So the place is safe. I'd like to appeal to the public. You should come and visit your parks, Queen Elizabeth being one of the main ones. Yeah. So those are some of the changes I would like to see in the tourism industry.
Okay. What is on your wish list?
My wish list for the property, or generally me as a person? I think for the property, yes. We would like to keep improving this property. I think you had come here some time back, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Now when you've come, I think you've seen some good changes. We'll continue doing changes here. We'd like to expand and build more deluxe cottages. We are also constructing a helipad. I don't know if they showed it to you. We have a helipad right in the center of the park. We're going to remodel this dining. That's another area. And it will have very clear zones when we remodel it. It will be a world-class property. And when you are in your zone, you will not know what is happening in the other zone. So that's one of the remodels we're going to make here. And then maybe have some fencing on the side of the community so that there's that protection, that buffer from community interference. It will be a natural fence. We're going to plant a forest with thorny plants, which will not be easy for animals to leave this side to go to the community, and vice versa. Community leaving the other side to this side. Now, as a person, I want to develop myself more, do more reading, do more studying, improve myself, give people more jobs. I like people being happy, and when they're happy, I feel satisfied.
And when you talked about some of the things that you'd like government to do better, at the back of my mind, something came up.
Yes.
The 23-25 taxes that you have to pay. What do you have to say about that?
Taxes are a major issue for any business, and there are so many taxes. Some are more stringent, more strict than others. But I believe for tourism, if the taxes could be reduced, and not that there's no precedent we can look at, there's already a precedent. If an investor comes, there's a tax holiday. So I believe government could extend that to some of us who are local investors. We give jobs, we are local people. Tax holiday for 5 to 10 years would be ideal. And I mean, they can put a limit. They say if you invest $1 million and above, then we can give you this tax holiday. If you have invested less than that, you may not get certain privileges. But I believe for those of us who have invested quite a lot of money in this, these privileges could be extended to us. And in the end, that extra money can be used to develop these properties, these facilities, and give people more jobs. The workforce here is close to 40 people. 40 people, that's quite a big number for a lodge in a park. Very remote, The salary we pay every month is a lot of money. In a year, if you compound it, it's quite a lot of money. So that's another area which government could support, by reducing the burden of taxes to us. There's the latest tax that has been introduced. I think you know about it, the property tax. That property tax, I think, is at 4%, if I'm not mistaken, of the value. Not of the money you have made, but of the value of the property. It's a lot of money. So, even if you've not made money that year, as long as they are getting the value of that property, you must pay tax. And they are quite strict with it. So, I think the government could do support, not just for Buffalo Lodge, but also other stakeholders who have properties to reduce their taxes, but with terms, Invest a certain amount of money, you should have a certain amount of staff, number of staff, and maybe other terms. Now, you'll be surprised how many companies would qualify. which would be a good thing for employment and other benefits.
Thank you from my side for your time and opportunity to speak to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate. Thank you.